Hello and welcome to Coffee Milk. I'm Mark Laporte, and this is a special edition, the Sam Altman debacle. I've never seen a company flip-flop in such a way in 7 days' time like OpenAI has. So what I think we really need to start with was how OpenAI was essentially founded. So it was Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Ilya Sutskever, I'm horrible with that, and a couple of Greg Brockman, I believe, and one other person. And they all got together, and essentially they wanted to create a nonprofit that would create AI that would benefit humanity. Essentially, they wanted AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. What we have right now is very much just an interpreter. It kind of interprets what the next word is in a sentence. That's why it can write such beautiful things. But they really want it to learn. When it learns, you're just afraid of how fast it can go. Obviously, it's November. The ChatGPT came out last November, so essentially this is a year. And the advancements just from 3 to 4 have been astronomical. So these guys came together. They want to form an OpenAI nonprofit that would benefit humanity by building artificial general intelligence that would actually be able to learn. But the whole point was to create it in a way that was safe. They were afraid that if for-profit companies kind of got involved in AI, they would just keep going faster and faster and damn the consequences. So they come up with billions of dollars in funding, and it wasn't funding, it was donations, because nonprofit, everything that they gave to the nonprofit was a tax write-off. That's how they were able to establish such a dominant thing in 2015, 2016. So they hire all the top researchers who were actually getting offers of 3 or 4 times more than they were being paid by OpenAI. But it was just the fact that they were going to build something that would benefit humanity. I mean, who doesn't want to work on something like that? As they're working, GPT-1 comes out, and it was nothing big. It was just pretty much papers on what they've discovered. Then it was 2018, I believe, ChatGPT-2 comes out, and developers were allowed to access more things, and they could put it together in applications that they were building. This is around the time that Elon Musk decided to step down, and leaving the board and stopping the funding kind of left a gap, a huge gap, $50 million at least. And they realized that working as a nonprofit, they weren't going to be able to advance this thing as fast as possible, because not everybody's going to give over $1 billion donations, and they wanted to kind of treat it as a tech startup. So what they did was actually pretty creative. They have their nonprofit holding company, OpenAI, and its mission is to promote AGI for the benefit of humanity. Then under that, they created a for-profit entity where they can charge subscription fees, sell products, make money. And anyone who invests in it, it was pretty clever. They called it capped investing. If you were an investor in OpenAI as the for-profit company, you were capped at 100 times your investment. So Microsoft invested $13 billion. They own 49% of the for-profit company OpenAI. So that $13 billion investment turns into $1.3 trillion at the top. That means OpenAI would be worth, close to $2.6 trillion? That's insane. Yeah, that's not too bad for something that they forked over in 2019. So now you got a new power structure. You got an OpenAI nonprofit that is the complete sole owner of OpenAI for profit. Now, to keep it with the whole benefiting humanity, they create a board of directors that was running the nonprofit. So the board's treating the for-profit company as a nonprofit, which is very strange. They want him to advance AI, sure, but in a way that is safe and doesn't get out of control. We don't want bad things to happen. Even Sam Altman said in Congress, he said, we're trying to go as fast as possible, but with as much precaution as possible. Now, there's a lot of people out there who say he's not safe, and this comes to the whole board of directors meeting on Friday, November 17th. Ilya texts Sam Altman the night before saying, hey, can we do a Google Meet at noon or in the afternoon? No problem. So he gets on, he finds out he's being fired. That kind of comes as a huge shock. They didn't give any explanation why. We kind of find out something later, which is outstanding and scary. Boom, right after that, Sam Altman tweets, "I loved my time at OpenAI. It was transformative for me personally, and hopefully the world is a little bit better, I'm sure. Most of all, I loved working with such talented people." So everyone's freaking out. I read about this right before I did last week's podcast, and I'm glad I didn't do an episode on it because I never would have been caught up with the facts because this thing was going in real time. If you were involved in this, it was awesome. You'd go to Twitter, you'd always get updates. A couple hours later, Sam Altman tweeted this, or Greg Brockman tweeted this, or Ilya tweeted this. Elon got involved. It was madness. So they fire him, and they have an interim CEO at the time. Well, they got Greg Brockman, also another guy involved in this, on the call, and they fired him, but said, "You're really removed from the board of directors, but you still have your position." So he quits. Then on Saturday, Microsoft, the best part was Microsoft maybe got this information 1 minute before Sam Altman was being fired, and they kind of blow a lid. Because obviously, if you invest a lot in AI, and Microsoft is really, that's where they want to go. Their stock dips 2%, which isn't a lot. It's only $58 billion, but $58 billion gone just from a tweet from Sam Altman saying he's been forced out of the company. So now Microsoft's involved. They go to the board. They're going to bat for Sam Altman. They're saying, no, you have to reinstate him. And they also wanted the board to resign after they reinstated him, which was wild. Everybody was waiting around until 5 p.m. because that was the deadline. Well, of course, the deadline came and went. Nothing happened. So Sunday, we see on Twitter that Sam Altman's back at OpenAI, and we're just hoping he's negotiating for his job back. Everybody gets involved. Nothing again happens. This is where Microsoft's genius comes into play on Monday, because the CEO announces a huge announcement. He hires Sam Altman for their projects. Everybody's losing their mind at OpenAI. There's whole companies whose sole purpose is, the sole company is run off of OpenAI, which is very important to know. If you're going to run a company, do not have it based on one thing that could fail and take you down. You're destined for failure. So now Microsoft picks up Sam Altman. Contract wasn't signed yet. And then the employees are also pissed because here comes the board of directors. They fire the CEO. Not shortly before that, they were all going to get huge payouts for having stock options in the for-profit company. At the time, 500 people at OpenAI said that they were going to quit. Funny part is I also learned that Sam Altman has no stock in the for-profit side of OpenAI. That blew my mind. Usually as a CEO, you get stock options, but they have specific laws in place for that company that the board of directors, high directors, managers, CEOs, things like that, can't have shares in companies that have to do with AI. So wild there. So that's why they all get together. They're pissed off. They're about to lose a lot of money. So they all go to bat for Sam Altman. Tuesday comes around. Then it's 707 people. I believe there's only 770 people total at OpenAI. So at this point, OpenAI is worthless. Microsoft's going to pull everybody from there at a fraction of the cost if they could even possibly buy out OpenAI. So it was just a win-win for Microsoft, and OpenAI's board just looks like a bunch of dopes. It was Wednesday, I read, Sam Altman's back as CEO. I believe that happened on Tuesday, but I read about it on Wednesday. And you just, in 4 days' time, company goes from firing the CEO to having 3 interim CEOs. I forgot to mention that. On Monday, OpenAI announced that the Twitch CEO, or the ex-CEO from Twitch, is going to be the CEO of OpenAI. And he's also fighting for Sam Altman to come back. You couldn't make this up. I felt like I was watching in real time a live episode of the TV show Succession. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. So Wednesday, Sam Altman's back, new dawn, board is gone. There are some interim board members. I'm sure they're going to be replaced probably this week. Now here's the kicker. In a Reuters article, they were talking about how researchers wrote a letter to the board of directors. They said a discovery was made and that it could impact all of humanity in a negative way. Essentially, what the board said at the time of firing was that Sam Altman really wasn't communicating everything with the board. But that's why you have a CEO. The CEO does the day-to-day. The board just focuses on, obviously, this board was just to focus on safety. That's their whole concept. So to hear that something may have happened, and obviously we had Dev Day 2 weeks ago, and it was wildly successful where OpenAI couldn't accept any new subscribers because the researchers couldn't even use the servers to research AI. So, I mean, I understand the appeal for the for-profit. That's the only way you could get hundreds of billions of dollars because you can show progress. Just look at 1 year's time. Next year, I can't even fathom what's going to be available or what the economy is going to look like because I feel a lot of people are going to be out of jobs really quick. That's why we all got to figure out our one little thing and hopefully it works out. So that's it of the Sam Altman drama. I hope you actually enjoyed this. This is kind of a quick episode. I don't know if I'm into the quick episodes or more interviews, but I didn't have an interview lined up because it's Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week. This is Mark from Coffee Milk.